I call this Planning and Zoning Commissioner regular meeting to order, and that a quorum is present at 6:33 p.m. Uh, we will ask Commissioner Neela to come take Commissioner Gabriella's spot. Yes, Gabriella. Public comments. Non-agenda item public comments, white card comments will be taken from the audience on non-agenda regular related topics for a length of time not to exceed 3 minutes per person. Agenda item public comments, yellow card comments will be taken from the audience on non-agenda and agenda items combined for a length of time not to exceed 5 minutes total per person on all items, except for public hearings. Comments on public hearings items must be made when the item comes before the board, commission, committee, and it not exceed 2 minutes per person. No action or discussion may be taken by the board, commission, or committee during public comments on non-agenda items. To address the board, commission, committee, please complete the white or yellow card and present it to the staff designated prior to the meeting. All right. Moving on, public hearing. Public hearing number 1, conduct a public hearing on rezoning application for lot on 4 acres more or less and being located at 16005 East US Highway 290, Maynard, Texas. Agriculture to C2 medium commercial. We do have Mr. Fritz Vednist that would like to speak.
Good evening. How are y'all doing tonight? My name is Fritz Van Nest. I'm at 10123 Access Drive in Boerne, Texas. I'm here tonight to support our project out on Highway 290. We're very excited to be here amongst what's going on out here, and we're proposing a self-storage facility on this 4 acres out there. I'll just go through some of the highlights really quick, and then if you have any questions, you can ask me. Like I said, the property is located out on the east side of town. It will be gated and fenced. All of our deals will be single level. All of our buildings will be single level. We will have an office there that will be manned by a third-party manager from 8 to 5 Monday through Saturday, and nobody will be allowed in the project after 7 o'clock at night. We have mainly we have climate controlled buildings. We did a feasibility study out here and found out that there's lack of climate controlled facilities out here. So we've got 3 climate controlled buildings, and then we've got 5 smaller drive up buildings that are 10 by 10. We've discussed the project with the fire marshal and know what they need. There will be no RV or boat storage out there. There will be nobody living on the site. And like I said, we're really excited to be here in Maynard, and would ask for your support for this project. And I'm available for any questions that you might have.
Mr. Michael.
Oh, I have to hold this one. Testing 1 2. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so this project is going right next door to the commercial property we just rezoned to C3 with the previous P&Z meeting. They're asking for C2, which does fit the comprehensive plan for that area as the commercial corridor. Directly next door to them to the west is an existing self-storage facility, so it's a use that's already there. It's not as large as what they're proposing, in case you didn't know. The handout that's been provided to you is of their project. And in order to do self-storage in C2 zoning, there are certain conditions you have to meet, not along the same lines as a specific use permit, but you have to meet certain conditions in order for a self-storage to be allowed on the property, and that's detailed in your backup. We can go through it, but only if you'd like.
You said there's already a storage next to there. Are they just going to extend this storage, or they're?
These are two different property owners, to my knowledge, unless. Please.
Yes, I've had discussions with Evelyn at Blue Star, and we may team up together a little bit, but we both agree with each other. So
Yeah, I see there was a caretaker facility attached to this.
there's an office attached to it, but we will not have anybody living out there. There won't be a caretaker living out there. We'll have that office manned from 8 to 5 Monday through Saturday. And then, like I said, the place will be locked up after 7 o'clock at night, so nobody will be in there after 9. So yeah, there won't be anybody living there.
To provide clarity on that, that's a condition. I'm assuming you read it from the backup. That condition is only applicable if someone lives there. So if there's no one living there, you don't have to meet that condition.
Yeah.
But so once you close your doors at 7 o'clock, nobody will be able to get in.
No.
So if somebody needs to get something out of your storage,
They're gonna have to wait till the morning.
that
We don't want people back in there, spend the night or whatever.
Will there be a security
There'll be
around the property?
There'll be a fence all the way around the property. Blue Star already has a fence on my property line, and we'll put a fence on the other side all the way around, and then it'll be gated in the front. Yeah, so it'll be secure. The office will be you'll be able to get to the office without going into the gate. But
Are all the storage units covered or enclosed
yes, yeah, like I
and
said,
climate controlled?
yeah, there are 3 buildings. 2 of them are like 20,000 feet apiece, and then there's another one up front that's like 7,500 feet. And they will be all climate controlled, so they'll be entered from the inside. And then if you look at that plat there, or that site plan, there are 5 smaller buildings along the side there that have.
Those perimeter storage units will
Yeah.
be non-climate controlled, but the 3 main buildings will be climate
Will be
controlled.
climate controlled.
Thank you.
So
Okay.
those will be driveways. Yep.
And the attached office to the front one.
Yep.
Is there a certain reason why you don't want to do RV or boat storage? Because I know that is a need around here, speaking as someone who owns an RV. And
The reason we decided not to do it is because we had a feasibility study done out here, and one of the things that they came up with is that you're short of climate controlled units out here, and there's lots of boat and RV storage around here. And, I think it looks kind of junky unless they're inside. So we've decided that we're not going to have any out there. Basically, we use the whole site up with this plan anyway, so there's no room anyways.
speaking as someone who looked into storage for my RV that's big, like 42 feet, I couldn't find any in Maynard.
You couldn't.
No. And had to found the one I found was in Hutto
Really?
and Round Rock. So, and I did the site finder to look for things and put all my conditions into, so you might actually want to relook into that because I would say that's not accurate from what
Really?
I went
Well,
through.
obviously, this is a preliminary site plan, so we'll take that into consideration.
I have other comments, but I'll wait until we close the public hearing and open this as an item in the general session.
All right, Commissioner, do we have any more questions? Negative. Go ahead.
I move we close the public hearing, and I move we close the public hearing.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Stetzlin and a second by Commissioner Terry. All in favor?
I
Aye. Moving on, consent agenda items. All of the following items on the consent agenda are considered to be self-explanatory by Planning and Zoning Commission and will be enacted with one motion. There will be no separate discussions on these items unless requested by a chairperson or a commission member, in which the event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. All right. Consent agenda item number 2, consider discussion and possible actions to approve the Planning and Zoning Commission minutes for August the 14th, 2024, Planning and Zoning Commission regular session, and August the 26th, 2024, Planning and Zoning Commission workshop.
I move approval of the consent agenda.
I second.
I have a motion for, say it for me one more time. Mr. Jeffrey, say your last name. Stetzlin. Commissioner Stetzlin, second by Commissioner Leonard. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Moving on, regular agenda items. Consider and discussion and possible action on recusal of Felix Pies for the Planning and Zoning Chairperson. Commissioners, most of you know, I'm not afraid to say it because I'm related to probably every person in the city of Maynard, so everybody knows by now. I did have a stroke about 2 months ago, and we have found a small hole in my heart, so we will have to go in and fix that. So as you guys can probably hear, it's pretty hard for me to keep talking. So that's why I've been in this town for a long time, and being a leader, I'm not afraid to step away and let somebody else lead, because I don't know what the next few months are going to hold after this procedure. So, one, I apologize for my absence, but two, I do plan to stay on planning and zoning, and so that's why I like to keep you guys up to date. So.
I totally oppose this motion.
And no apology needed. I just want to say that, no apology needed. We're glad to prioritize your health, and we're glad you're staying on. I think I speak for everybody. We're really glad you're staying on because you have such a wealth of knowledge of Maynard, and we need you. So don't leave us just yet. But yeah, do what you got to do.
It's good to see you up and kicking.
Yeah, well, the kicking part I don't know about yet, but yeah, I'm up. I've been moving, so yeah, it's been a long couple months, but I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys being patient with me, and welcome to Jeffrey, the new commissioner. I haven't finally got to meet.
I know.
Yeah, so with that, can I get a motion for this?
I guess I'll move and let him move on.
Hold on, before it. So Yuvia, I have a question. What if they said no?
You're
I have
stuck.
to stay?
Yeah, we're resigned under oath.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll let you step in this one time.
All right.
I'd like to second the motion with regret.
All right. I have a motion by Commissioner Terry, second by Commissioner Cecil. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right. Moving on. Yeah. Moving on to number 4, consideration and discussion and possible actions on choosing a new Planning and Zoning Commission chairperson.
I nominate Commissioner Meyer. Commissioner Meyer has been here. Well, my short 3 months here at the commission. Commissioner Meyer has been here quite a while too, and it's just one move over for him. It's one seat.
I'm not sure I'm the right person to, and I would really like to counter with someone that is more a better speaker than I am, and I would prefer to ask not to accept that and
Decline.
to
Yes.
make a further motion that Mr. Stensland
Oh,
be the
okay.
chair.
I'll accept the nomination. Can I chair both the commission and the committee?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Means I can't make as many motions as I usually do.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Even though I've been absent, I've been watching the meetings because it's, sitting at home for 2 months is getting kind of boring. So planning and zoning and city council meetings are pretty exciting. So, and I've went through all the Netflix series. So yeah, I will have to agree with Commissioner Cecil. I will second that motion. We have a motion for Commissioner. I'm gonna get it by Stensland as the new chairperson. I have a motion by Commissioner Meyer, a second by Commissioner Pies. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oppose?
Here we go again. Alrighty. Thank you guys. I'm gonna swap spots with you. That's okay. Just because you got that nice mic. Thank you, everyone, as we play musical chairs. And thank you, fellow commissioners, for entertaining my nerd out moment. I'll use this envelope, and then I'll have that for the next committee. Thank you so much. With that, we will move on to item 5, which is I have a cheat sheet over here, y'all. That was that wasn't a consent agenda. No. There we go. Here we are. This next item is item 5. It's consideration, discussion, and possible action on a rezoning application for one lot on 4 acres, more or less, and located at 16005 East US Highway 290 in Maynard, Texas. Rezoning it from A, agricultural, to C2, medium commercial. The applicant is Foresight, the owner, White Oak Development, and this is open for entertaining a motion.
I believe you had questions.
Oh, I'm so sorry, y'all. I do. I have items. I have commissioners. I can call the 2 speakers here. We have Andy Graham is here on behalf of Kimberly Horn.
That's the wrong agenda.
No, that's wrong agenda. That's item 8. Okay, I am good. I apologize.
Quite all right.
I'll open up the floor for a motion, and then we'll get into the questions, if that's okay. Or can I ask questions before
you
I?
said you had
Thank
questions.
goodness. Okay, even better. I have a session tomorrow to watch, so it'll be fun. One of the questions I had was on the sales tax revenue for this. This is in the commercial corridor section of the not just our future land use map, but also Destination 2050, which really calls for like a large mix of retail, like 70% retail, 10% others, 30% of the others broken into 3 different categories. But self-storage does not generate sales tax revenue. Is that correct?
Well, they are renting from us, so
Mhm.
assuming we're paying some sales tax.
Not in the state of Texas.
Not in the state of Texas.
No. Is that a correct assumption, or I don't know if I should ask
correct? I'm
that.
not sure. True.
Okay.
I thought they did, but
And I also have a question. Let me go to it. This was.
So,
This is-
self store. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, please go.
I was going to say that self storage typically is pretty easy on a city. We don't use a lot of utilities. There's nobody living out there. We basically have one bathroom on the site. So yeah, there isn't a lot of drain on the city's systems.
Okay. Okay. That was my primary question on.
To answer your question, and after a quick search, it says while sales tax is not collected for the rents of self-storage units, sales tax must be collected on all rents and charges received for a vehicle or trailer parking or storage.
Correct. And at current platting, or the current preliminary design, there is, as he stated in the public hearing, there is no plan for on-site vehicle storage, which would be a sales tax generator for the city.
Really? So if I put RV and boat storage out there, that's a sales tax generator for the city.
According to a quick search, yes, sir.
Yes.
I can tell you, I pay a monthly storage fee on an RV and a car. I pay taxes on both. So
Yeah.
I think it's all sales tax generating just based on doing some searching myself and paying that every month.
I ask this only because I know that sales tax revenue has been a large concern of the council, especially in recent months. We have a lot of compression happening and a lot of pressure
Right.
on the budget from the state laws for other sources of revenue for the city. So we're trying to be mindful of that in our recommendations, and also for knowing that this is going to be next to another existing self-storage unit that is also the same setup, a similar setup. It's not climate controlled. But it's a similar operation. I'm trying to make sure that we don't have each 4-acre plot allotted in the city, before we run out of 4-acre plots and they're all the same use.
And I think that's a great point. Other than where it's at now with agricultural, there's probably no sales tax on anything that's produced on
No.
agricultural either. At least it gets turned over, and the property tax portion of it will get changed. Because I know on my ranch, we get huge breaks on the agricultural exemption part. So, I mean, to that extent, maybe it might even out a little bit.
To a degree.
Also, there are other areas down Old Highway 20 where there are indoor storages that don't do RVs next to outdoor storages.
Right.
I know because I'm in the outdoor storage, and I wish I could afford the indoor. But we have several other versions of that where 2 storage units are right together already in the city. So, and honestly, they're both full, right? They actually had to make room for more at the one that I'm at because the demand was so high. So they put in little dividers to make more room for a whole nother row because the demand is definitely there. So I agree that this is, to me, is a no-brainer. We should definitely do this. It generates sales tax, whereas it's agriculture just sitting there and it's not generating anything.
Well, it generates property tax, whereas
Right, but not sale. Our goal is to have good sales tax, healthy sales tax to reinvest.
And Blue Star is a very small. They only have 3 buildings out there. They're very small facility.
Yeah.
They have mainly outdoor storage. But they have.
Will you be selling boxes, tape, other
We
things,
don't. We haven't decided that yet.
towing?
We-
So you potentially could
We
be
potentially could be
doing
yes.
what U-Haul does,
Yeah, we definitely, I'm sure, will. Yep.
Okay.
So
which would
that
then
could generate a
sales
little bit of
tax.
sales tax. Yeah.
Okay.
So, how long do you think this would take you from start to finish, to build this out?
Well, if everything goes smoothly here, and we get through the council meeting next week, and then on the 5th, I think it is, of October,
The second.
or the 2nd of October, then we'll go right into producing a site plan and a grading plan, which will probably take a couple of months. I mean, my goal is to have us under construction by February.
Will you have one entrance and one exit? It'll only be one way in and one way out?
Yep.
And does that comply with fire safety?
Apparently it does. We've talked to
Okay.
Bill Carlson, and we know what they need out there as far as water. And yes, he was okay with the one entrance. So.
Where does that back asphalt piece past the fifth building there on the edge, on the eastern edge of your property, go to? Is that just for a backup and
No.
and pull out section on your plat that you submitted today as late
Go
backup?
back here.
Yeah, late backup. Is that just for a 3-point turn?
Yeah, this is.
If you could, please face the mic.
Get the fire department out here, and then we will have a detention pond back here.
Okay.
So this is set up for the detention pond, and that's exactly what that's for.
Thank you.
The fire truck out of there.
So will you use the same entrance as Blue Star already there, or you will have your own entrance?
I'll have my own entrance, but we come off. There's one entrance for both of us off at 290, and then they go to the right. We'll go to the left.
Okay. Those are all my questions.
I'm assuming the traffic is probably not generated enough for you to need a TIA. Is that correct?
No.
I'd like to just make a point too is that the cost of storage has been going up quite considerably, and so I would encourage some competition.
This will help a little bit.
Okay.
Also, Commission, something to consider, assuming this does proceed, anytime something else is presented for C2 zoning or even C3, remember you have the option to limit what uses are allowed. in
Oh, I
certain
have a
zones.
list.
But assuming this does proceed and this storage unit does ultimately come into existence, if anything else comes down the line and it's not something in line with what you see fit,
What
you
they
can
present today needs to be to that question. If this motion is to approve C2 zoning with the conditional use of mini storage, correct? Or is this just because it's a conditional use for this property, for that parcel?
within our zoning code,
Yes.
it's already a conditional use. So if you approve the C2 zoning, it has to adhere to those conditions. You don't have to add that to the motion.
Okay, so if we wanted to make sure that it doesn't go through a C2 zoning today, presented before all of us very nicely as self-storage, and then it turns into one of our other 20 categories, we need to exclude that, or we need to recommend exclusion of that on the motion.
If there's anything specifically that you don't want it to be used for, because this is ultimately a zoning hearing, not their specific use hearing,
Correct.
you would have to add that in your motion that
Wonderful.
you can do this, but we will not allow this.
Alrighty.
I know that we routinely hear complaints about the number of convenience stores and gas stations.
Yes, we have quite the repetition
And that's
in the area.
included
Yes, sir.
in this designation.
Gas stations do require a specific use permit, so even if they got the
Yes.
zoning, they would have to come back again to get a specific use.
So the
permit.
ones that are marked S on that sheet or on that chart that's pulled from the zoning code, those are the ones that would require an additional level. But all the other ones that are marked C for conditional, though, if we chose that that's not something we would like to see in this specific parcel, we would need to include that as an exclusionary item.
That is correct.
All right, thank you.
Since we know, sometimes they don't know, right? They come and they want zoning, but they don't really know what's going to go there, right? This time they do. They have renderings. It's amazing.
This
I
is
asked-
what we're gonna do, guys.
Yeah, I ask for this all the
My
time
son-
because
my son and I
it's-
are
yeah.
in business together.
Cool.
This is what we want to do.
cool.
Okay.
So since we know this time, right, which is not usual,
Yeah.
since we know, can we just do the motion, say, storage unit? And that's the only use that we'll permit.
I would not advise that, because if you provide that stipulation, say they sell the property down the line and someone else comes in,
They'd have
and
to,
they're locked into storage unit, and they'd
Yeah.
have to come back here and go through all of this again.
and if the market changes and all of a sudden it's great for a shopping center, maybe not for vape shops or liquor stores or gasoline stations, which are literally within a mile of that location, maybe we could exclude those during this motion to balance the eastern edge of the city.
Yeah.
I would have to agree with Commissioner Leonard. you know, we ask for this all the time when we appreciate you bringing this, because 99% of the time they just say, hey, we want to take this and do this, and we have no clue what they're about to put there. So I do appreciate that. But I do, if this gentleman is about to put this storage unit here, and then as you say, you brought your son, I'm assuming you something, you're just gonna pass it on down the line and keep going. So
That's what we're gonna do.
I'd rather them come back to us if they want to change it.
Would you like to propose a motion?
What would a motion like that look like? With just saying we approve it, but only for one specific use case.
You would you could recommend approval of item 5 of the reclassification from agricultural to C2 medium commercial with the sole use of mini storage, or others that you'd want to pick off the list.
Is it better to exclude all the things that we don't want, or to just say what he said? 'Cause we've never made a motion like this.
Can I ask a question? When
Yes,
you
sir.
do that, the mini storage, would that include RV and boat storage too?
Yes, that's all the same. Oh,
It's all the
sorry,
same
I'll let
use?
staff answer.
Because you got me thinking about that now.
That's the only storage designation we have on C2, so that would be my
It would be
assumption.
encompassed.
It'd be your assumption that I can do that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
My only withholding is at that point, if we're restricting every use but one in a zoning, does that really classify it as zoning? It's more like we're just landlocking.
It's a
it into
special
one
use. It's a special use permit.
well, and I think it's like Michael said, we just landlocked it. So now that means that can only be a storage unit instead of
Whatever the market determines.
right.
I said that I don't know if we're allowed.
No, but I mean, and I agree with you on that one, because, you know, I'm gonna be with you, like Commissioner Meyer said. For you to bring a storage, prices have gone up. I just got out of one, and so I know they're going up. But we also know what's coming to Manor, and with apartments coming every other corner, looks like now. Storage units are adequate, and so just my opinion would be, I would hate to just landlock this thing, and 15, 20 years there's a need for something there, and they have to come back and see us again. Not like I don't want to see you again, but I would hate for you to do it all over again.
Yeah.
Do you ever foresee? Is this lot even feasible for a multi-story? If you needed
Pardon me?
for a multi-story facility, you would
We
probably
we
not for the
would-
egress.
We wouldn't do it.
No.
No, we're not. We want to keep it single level, and
Yeah.
yeah.
The cost changed significantly.
Yeah,
when
the
you
cost
go up.
changes significantly, and your clients change, and I
Yeah.
just can't get my hands around, going up an elevator with my boxes and putting them in a storage.
Yeah.
unit.
I
It
hear you.
just doesn't make sense to me. But
Okay.
The traffic on 290 is a lot. So we want things that have lower, no TIAs, right? No added traffic. No, the trips are limited, right? We don't want to put things that have a lot of traffic in a place that's already just overly congested with traffic.
and with self storage, people usually put their stuff in there and then they don't go back to it. I mean, it's just,
Some of these use cases could be
Yeah.
higher generating traffic things, So if you're going to exclude things, you might want to really think about that, because I think like the flyover thing that they're
Yeah.
posting about, that's still like 30 years away, even if that ever happens. So it just,
But
You
if
know.
you create more services that are here, then you're not driving to go to them. I'm currently driving 10 miles to go to a grocery store because it has produce on a regular basis. I shouldn't be saying that as I'm talking about sales tax revenue in our city. But yeah, I just said something out loud. Anyway, I hear what you mean, though, too. If we can find places to create community centers or community options close by, that aren't, but also is not inducing people to come from. That's kind of that regional need. We may not want to put something like a 6-letter name with a beaver on it for a fueling station in the area, because that would be a very trip-inducing property, possibly.
Yeah, things like schools, I don't know if
Yeah.
school is the right to put on a big, very crowded highway, right? Things like schools
No.
is the main thing I was looking at, where it's like, I don't know about that.
Okay.
I understand that.
I've just been looking through the
Uses.
medium uses, and the bulk of the establishments that I would not want to agree to are already conditional. So I'm not seeing anything to object to that isn't already conditional and would require it to come back here anyway.
Conditional would only require them to comply in site planning. They would be able to do it essentially by right, as long as they met the conditions of the site plan, or the conditions of the city code. Correct.
Anything conditional, the conditions are listed within the zoning code, and if they meet those conditions, then they're able to participate in
Proceed.
that use. Now, if it's a specific use
Spec-
permit, then they have to come back to P&Z.
Anything marked S would require them to come back, but anything marked C does not. The ones that I had flagged were uses of excluding the conditional uses of gasoline station, limited and full service, liquor sales, medical clinic, office uses for government, medical, professional, and showroom, as well as the by right uses of religious assembly, school, boarding, business, trade, private and parochial, and public, as well as smoke shop, tobacco store.
I believe by state law, we are not allowed to prohibit any religious
Oh,
assembly.
I would strike that then from my list. I
They're allowed
apologize.
in
Thank
all
you.
zoning categories.
Yes.
We won't be putting any of those there.
Okay. But what if you sell it tomorrow because you got
I
bored?
agree. You
got
have to
sick
protect
of us.
yourself. Yep.
Sorry, I was a reporter for a long time. Whatever somebody says to me is nice, but then they leave.
Yeah, I
And-
know.
Yeah.
I've been alive for 66 years. I understand.
Yeah.
Did that include the general sales, convenience in general?
No, I did not. I didn't put that on the list of the ones that I had excluded.
But if we exclude
If you
general
wanted to, you could
retail
add
sales, he can't sell tape or boxes or anything out of
Yeah,
it.
that would-
Correct.
We don't want to do that because we probably will do that for sure.
And that would be something we'd want to make sure that that's kind of where the other end of going too far and just doing only the permitted uses may corner us negatively. Does anyone want to go for a motion?
How many uses did we mark?
Oh. From the list that I had listed off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, no, that's not it.
Additionally,
Oh, off-site accessory parking. That would be the on-site storage, vehicle storage. No, that would be like an extra parking lot.
yeah,
That would just
I
be a
believe
parking lot.
recreational vehicle park
Okay.
would be the outdoor storage, but that already
Oh.
has a specific use on there.
Okay. So he may have to come
Uh,
back for that.
I wanted to ask, did you mention offices government?
I do.
That may be a little
I'll just take it off.
counterproductive to the city in the event. Not that
And
we-
the other ones are actually special use, so I would just remove those from my list. I was just trying to think of like what to kind of looking at the parcel and trying to think of ingress and egress and like what its maximum potential could be, given it's a really narrow lot as far as access. So you kind of have a right in, right out, which is nice. It's onto 290, but it creates a very narrow. If you have a large demand if your dentist office, it's relatively easy. You have 2 people an hour. Anything above that, you may have different peaks.
Is the RV park, is that like people living there? That use?
No. Um,
The recreational vehicle park? I believe so, and that's why there's a specific use
okay.
required.
Would-
So
I would not want that one either, right?
it may not be the same thing as recreational vehicle storage.
Yeah, I didn't
That
think it
makes
was.
sense. Yeah. Sorry, Cecil, I'm almost there. If we did schools, it would be 10. If we didn't do schools, it would be 5. And the list would be gasoline station limited, gas stations full service, liquor sales, medical clinic, smoke shop, or tobacco store.
And distillery?
And distillery. If they want to fit a distillery on a 4-acre lot, it would be a micro distillery, that's for sure.
And RV park.
An RV park. So that'd put us at 7.
Plus the schools would be 12, right?
Yeah. I was almost not going to touch the schools because I don't want to also find a
I don't know if
problem with the
we're
code.
able to do that.
Yeah. I'm
And
gonna
brewery, micro, and brew pub.
Oh, and brew pub is the second. Yeah. 3. And then you have alcoholic beverage establishment at the top, but it's not sure if you want that or not. Yeah. So that'd be at 10 plus this, 10, excluding the schools. You still have quite a full list. You could put a hotel there.
I'm not going to put out.
Okay.
Don't worry.
I would like to make a motion that we approve this item with the exceptions of those 10 uses.
15 uses.
You do want to add the schools after?
Yeah, we got to add schools.
Okay. I read way too much about lawsuits.
So
I don't know
I have something on the schools. So if ACC wants to come in and put something there, they're gonna have to come back and meet with us. Why do we want to take schools off of there?
They wouldn't have to come back and meet with us. There's no S on there.
Well, I think what he's saying is if you add schools to the list of prohibited uses, if they tried to go there because of this zoning with stipulations, they would have
They'd have to come
talk
back
you.
for a rezoning.
And
Would-
Right. I think
additionally-
schools should be included on the list of things that we don't want there. And if the people want to put it there, they should come back.
Wouldn't those schools be considered government?
the ISD in the event that there's something out there that they do or need to do.
I was keeping them excluded because of, well, I had excluded them from the list because of the concerns from just touching government offices and religious assemblies. So I feel like everything's a hot burner, and I want to go research more before I make a motion that would not fly at the council or after approval.
So I'm still with the motion
Yes.
for those 10.
Okay.
So
As
not
a-
including the schools as an exclusion?
No, those would not be included in the 10.
Can you read off the 10 again?
The motion by Commissioner Minor, by Commissioner Meyer would be for C2 medium commercial approval with the excluded uses of alcoholic beverage establishment, microbrewery, brew pub, distillery micro, gas station limited, gas station full service, liquor sales, medical clinic, recreational vehicle park, and smoke shop or tobacco store.
In the recreational vehicle park, that's where they got to live in it, right?
That would be that would be under the conditions of that being an on-site dwelling situation.
which
Go
is
ahead.
not what you're doing.
No.
You're doing RV storage. This is RV park, which is people that live there.
Now, let me ask you a question. Some of these self-storage facilities, and I'm not saying we're going to do this or not, they store wine for people.
Mm-hmm.
Would that be excluded from this now, or
Wine.
wine? Yeah.
I don't think so because the
This is specific to liquor sales
Yeah.
and
Right.
the selling of alcoholic beverages or setting up a microbrewery or a brew pub.
creating alcohol or selling it. You're storing
Those
it.
are
It's not the
storing.
same.
Those
Okay.
are operational facilities.
Okay. I'm good with all that.
So what is alcohol beverage then?
Alcoholic beverage establishment. Yeah.
I think the like Commissioner Meyer said is that's where you still consume it on premises.
Yes. A bar. That's the motion from Commissioner Meyer.
I'll second.
The second from Commissioner Terry. Any discussion on the motion?
I'm not going to vote yes without the schools. So, because we already have a ton of traffic, I don't think 290 is the right place to be up front, especially with only one entry in and one entry out, and being such a deep thing. It's not a good spot for a school.
Mm-hmm. Any other comments on the motion or questions? All right, we'll go for a vote. All those in favor of the motion as stated, please say aye.
Aye.
Oh, please raise your hands. Yeah. Aye. Those opposed?
Nay.
That motion fails on a vote of 3-3 with Commissioners Pais, Neela, and Leonard voting no. We're back to the, so we will entertain a new motion.
I'd like to make a motion for the 10 exclusions plus the 5 for the schools.
Motion by Commissioner Leonard to
If I may,
approve C2 medium commercial. Yes.
schools are considered a government entity after a quick search.
So that would
Not
be it.
ban the use of government
So
facilities.
that would nullify this motion if it was approved.
Well, some schools are, but I mean, some schools are completely private. They're,
Oh, but in Texas in
Full on.
2024, are they?
yeah, I mean, but my wife used to work for one. It was a full on traded on the federal
Stock
the
exchange.
stock exchange, and I owned stock in it and stuff. There was no way that thing was any kind of governmental school whatsoever.
Why?
It's
What?
like a private daycare, although I don't know if daycare is listed
I can
separately.
tell you that we're not going
But
to
a
put a school there.
daycare,
Yeah.
To be clear, it is public schools that are government entities.
Why would they be listed on this list for us to consider as exclusions if the state law says that they have to be included?
Well, they're not
Because this
necessarily
isn't
listed on.
This isn't a list of exclusions. This is a list of permitted uses. It has to be on the list if it's permitted, even if it's by right. The exclusions comes from the decisions that the commission is making.
Okay, and what is the state law that says that we can't do that?
The Texas Education Agency is a state agency that oversees public education in Texas. School districts, ISDs, education service centers, they all fall under that jurisdiction.
Could we just add private schools to that list rather than the government schools?
or let the public schools come in here and fight about it.
It is at the discretion of the commission to make these decisions.
We have the motion from Commissioner Leonard for approval of C2 medium commercial zoning with the exclusionary uses, as previously mentioned, the 10 of the previous motion plus boarding school, business or trade school, college or university school, private or parochial school, and at last mentioned public school. Is that correct? All right. That's
Yes.
the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that one.
We have a second from Commissioner Terry. Discussion. No other further discussion. We'll go for a vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. We have Commissioner Leonard and Commissioner Terry in favor. All those opposed, raise your hand. It's the balance of the dais. The motion fails.
I
So
like to go. We spent about 20 minutes on this, just talking about what should be on there, what's on there, and what's not on there. When the final decision is ultimately going to be held by City Council.
That's correct.
So what I like to do, just to go ahead and wrap things up, so that we can go ahead and let the gentlemen take over what they got to take care of, and then let City Council decide whether or not they want to add or subtract. Because the last time we had a similar discussion, what we had thought was going to be a good plan, they said nope, and they took it all out.
They have to
Okay.
have a super
So-
majority though to overrule us.
It's
on
okay.
these
I'd rather let
things.
them have the super majority on that part than waste 20 minutes on deciding what should be on there and what should not be on there when he may not have the property at some point. 10 years down the road, something may happen, and whoever's going to come in is going to have to come in to make any changes. We won't be here
No.
during that time. Someone else will go ahead and take that time because our kids are going to get older. We have other stuff to do, and other people want to go ahead and take our positions, and that's perfectly fine. So if it's okay with everybody, I'd like to go ahead and just make a motion and approve the consideration, the consent agenda item as is. And then I'm sorry?
The agenda item. Yeah, not the consent.
Agenda item 9 for consideration, discussion, and possible action on a rezoning application for one for lot on 4 acres, more or less, and being located at 16,005 East U.S. Highway 290, Mena, Texas, from agricultural to C2 medium commercial.
All right. The motion from Commissioner Neela is to approve the staff recommendation. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
A second from Commissioner Pais. Any discussion?
I would just say our job is to discern and try to make sure that the future is well thought out. And I'm okay if it takes 20 minutes to discuss it. And, you know, I think it's good to be open, but also be strategic. And so that's sort of what I was trying to do. But just want to say that.
Thank you, Commissioner Leonard. I think as someone who's, and I agree, I did not grow up here, but I do respect being here and growing in this community, and being here for the rest of my life, and helping the next generation. It's hard to see, and it's nothing against what is currently proposed by this applicant, but it's what's potentially allowed by the blanket zoning of C2 commercial. C2 commercial has provided us all that we see there at George Bush and US 290. It's what we're going to see at Old Kimbrough. It's what we're going to see it's what we just saw pop up at Paseo de Presidente behind one of our houses. And I see the same thing. It's just a different brand, but it's the same setup. It's kind of a chariot of options. It goes from gas station, candy store or ice cream shop, pizza stop, dentist, and then the gym, and a vape shop and a liquor store on both sides. And we've seen that 3 times or 4 times in the city. And while this is mini storage, we also, and I understand that we have a couple other of those facilities around town. The goal of the exclusions is to try to guide the development from being the lowest common denominator. You know, self-storage is a relatively easy build. It's a high revenue per square foot, which is great for the builder. But then you'll end up like Lamar Boulevard in Austin, where you have 4 or 5 or 6, self-storage units, and which I'm sure they're meeting a demand, but is at the highest and best use for that lot. And how many times do you give a pass before you all of a sudden run out of acreage? And all of this corridor in the next 10 years doesn't look like that, and it's done. It's kind of baked. So I understand, and that's where I respect Commissioner Leonard for wanting to go into a lot of baking analogies or cooking analogies. You want to make sure that you have all the right ingredients going into the oven before it gets cooked, because once it gets cooked, and you look up and you put chocolate and tahini together. Oh, that's actually a pretty good combination. And maybe something and Tabasco sauce. You want to make sure that it actually is something that you want to serve up to your next generation. So that's for the rationale, I think, between the three of ours.
Can I ask a question?
Guardrails. Yes, sir.
If is the problem that it's C2? If it was, is the self-storage allowed in C1? I mean, is the problem that it's so broad in C2 that, or they're both the same?
All the commercial zoning categories are relatively broad. It's trying to guide and trying to it's a Cheesecake Factory menu. See, I'm going to the food analogies again. It's a list of 40 options you can have for your property. It's literally a full page here in our agenda in 10-point font of potential options. And as the commission, it's our duty to recommend to the city council what we think they should, what best aligns with the future land use map, the community, what's existing today, what we know is coming tomorrow. We know it's coming tomorrow next door. We know it's another facility. I believe it's a fueling facility. And then guide from there and try to balance it. These are parcel by parcel because of the uses being there. So
If there's some way that we put the schools in there and make everybody happy that we can't use that, is there some way that I can guarantee that there won't be that?
Yeah. So what I was going to say,
Yeah.
3 people voted for the first time, right? You 3 down at the
Yes.
end. And the only difference between the first motion and the second motion was to add the schools,
correct.
right? But you and Cecil voted against that one,
Yes.
right? But that's the only difference between the two. And you would gain my vote if you added the schools, and you could get to a 4-person. So is the schools really worth it to deny when it's really only 5 uses that are different, and it's probably never going to happen?
Commissioner Meyer.
Yes, I wanted to have 2 things. First, I want to make sure that the council understands what my intent is and that's clear. Second part was I kind of had put forward a middle point of excluding those private schools, allowing the government schools in for that reason that government facilities are excluded. So
that's the area is you would like to see the public schools back in, and then you would vote
for
for
that
it.
middle point.
Well, then can I just make a motion to? Oh, okay.
The motion the motion on the floor is the one presented by Commissioner Neela. We can amend the motion if it after it receives a second, or it can die for lack of a second, and we start over again.
Felix did give a second,
Oh,
right?
that's right. No.
I did it on the first one. He did.
No. And I probably should not be explaining my thoughts. I do have a second. I'm sorry. The second came from Commissioner Pais. Okay, thank you. That's right.
We have to vote, I think.
So the motion is hot on the floor, and that's the motion for the base motion. That's the motion is for the base recommendation from staff. Speaking to Commissioner Myers' point, my consternation about having schools on the exclusion list is, and whether it be public or all of them, is twofold. A lawsuit brought by the applicant or by anyone in the community that is successful in challenging this recommendation, if it was to go through and I view these as being sent up to the council for consideration and baked, fully ready to go. Whether they take them or not, sometimes they don't like carrots in there. See, I can't do too much food. But I want the consternation that I have is because of the legal liability that may create by putting that in there to jeopardize the entire motion and the entire zoning case that he's asking for and put him back to square one.
So
He
it's like
stuck with
risk of litigation.
Yeah,
Is
it's
your
the risk of
concern.
litigation.
Is there risk of litigation
I haven't sued anyone. I mean, I haven't sued
Mm,
this. I
for
haven't
the
sued the
city?
city yet, so I don't know. And no one in here's sued the city yet because we haven't made the motion. But that's a concern that I have. The concern that I have about separating, about even including private, is because I know that certain leaders of the state have elocuted that they view public and private and parochial and boarding as the same, and that's the. And I don't know if I'm allowed to speak to this, but please tell me, Yuvia, if I need to stop. But the Supreme Court this would go to is appointed by the leaders of the state and who have those views. So that was my consternation. But yes, again, sorry. The motion is the staff motion, staff recommendation. It has been moved and seconded. It is. I'll entertain an amendment or a vote.
Please.
Oh, this is early, sir. It's 7:32.
I know. You need to go home.
I know. I just flew in from Atlanta after a conference all week. It started on Saturday.
No.
But I know about asphalt a lot. All right. I will call a vote. All those in favor of the motion, say aye. Or raise your hand. Apologies. I was doing that for demonstration. Please again, those in favor, please raise your hand. Those opposed? And the motion fails on a vote of 2-4, with Commissioners Stensland, Meyer, Terry, and Leonard voting no. We are back to an open floor. I'll entertain a motion.
This gentleman just wants to build a storage facility.
Yeah.
He says he's going to build it. He says that's what he wants to do. His son's here. He says they're going to start building it in February.
I'm gonna spend $6.5 million spending it too.
Nice.
It's not something cheap, you guys. And
No. And
We're excited.
we
for
want you to do it. And it really has, in my opinion, nothing to do with you. And it has more to do with some other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if he sells it next week and somebody wants to come in and put a micro distillery or some other, then let them come back and pitch their idea and say, hey, now I just bought this property for $6.5 million and now I want to put in a micro distillery. Okay, well then show us your plan. Let's see what it looks like. I like vodka's good, whatever. Or a restaurant. So, I mean, I think getting the what if 10 years, 20 years, 30 years down the line we get blinded by can't see the forest for the trees kind of thing versus this gentleman just wants to build a self-storage unit. If we just, and I'm not worried about litigation. I'm a lawyer. If somebody comes in and some school a public school or Manor ISD wants to come in and build a school there, it's going to get approved. They're going to come in and say, we want to build a school there. Either you're going to sell it to us or we're going to just take it by eminent domain and we're going to build it anyway. And that's how it's going to be. There's not going to be a bunch of litigation. There's not going to be a bunch of anything, in my opinion, because lawyers are smarter than that. We're just going to be like, yeah, you're right. We can't do that. But if we just approve this C2 on the condition that he's going to build a storage unit, anybody else who wants to do anything different 6 months, 6 years from now can come in and see this group of people or another group of people and ask nicely, hey, we want to do a restaurant or we want to do an RV park. And then that commission can look at it and see what 290 corridor looks at that time, which could be vastly different than what we're looking at right now.
So would you recommend a motion that only allows mini storage warehouse and maybe retail?
To me, the gentleman wants to build we approve the C2 zoning to allow him to do the mini storage warehouse and general retail sales. And if there's anything else I missed about what else you might want to do that might be associated with a mini storage for sales that generates sales tax, that we approve that. So my
Okay.
motion is approve with mini storage warehouse and general retail sales. And if there's something I missed, please let me know.
Motion from Commissioner Terry is to approve recommendation of approval from agricultural to C2 medium commercial, with the allowed uses being limited to those that are statutorily required by state law, and general retail sales, general, and mini storage warehouse. Is that
do you
clear?
have
Is that
some-
is that close?
Sounds good to me.
All right. That's the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second from Commissioner Pais. Any discussion?
Yuvia, do you have something, Yuvia?
Go ahead and finish the motion.
Okay.
I'll make a comment after.
All right.
All righty. All those in favor of this motion as amended, or as, pardon me, no. All those in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. All those opposed? All right.
I'm abstaining.
The motion passes with a vote of, Commissioner Neela abstaining. The rest of the balance in favor. Thank you so much. Thank you. That's a recommendation for approval. We'll see what happens next week or tomorrow. Yeah. Thank you.
Commissioners, Yuvi Almaná, City Secretary. So just so you, it's kind of confusing. There should only be one motion. I mean, if the motion fails, it fails. You don't continue to make motions. So this is my observation tonight. So I wanted to bring that up for your next agenda. You guys don't, I'm not sure.
So the
how-
item would have died on the first
So it's
motion of
died,
failure.
So I was going to recommend, I mean, it can be recommended, it's passed, but if you guys need additional time, I have requested for legal to start attending these meetings.
Oh.
So you guys can have questions and y'all can have your answers right away and
Okay.
regarding motions. But just so you know, if a motion fails, it fails. You don't continue to do motions until it gets approved.
Well, you can
Just
always
wanted
move
to
to,
bring
you
that
can recommend disapproval.
Unless somebody brings it back, meaning one of you guys will make a motion to reconsider the motion. So it's different steps. Just wanted to bring that up
Okay.
to your attention.
Is that what the Austin City Council does in Travis County Commissioners Court? Because that's who I've watched
That's
for the
the
last 15
Robert's
years.
Rules of Order. So
It's Robert's Rules of Order.
yes, and council does it as well.
Okay.
So just wanted to bring it up to you guys.
Thank you.
So since we did that anyway,
It's already done. We're going to go ahead and move.
okay, great.
But
Yeah.
but if we ever need to, if we see the motion, if the motion fails, a commissioner needs to, a member of the commission would need to reconsider the motion, request a reconsider of the motion. Does it need to be the one who filed the original motion? Whoever votes against the motion that fails has to request a reconsideration, and then that has to be voted on for reconsideration by the board, by the county commission. Okay.
Can a new motion be reconsidered?
All righty.
I'm sorry this took so long. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Hey, we're having fun with Roberts here. Thank you all. The next item. Item 6, consideration, discussion, and possible action on a final plat for the Holly Smith Mustang Valley subdivision, Phase 2. This is 109 lots on 28.384 acres, more or less, and located near the opposite side of the road at the intersection of FM 973 and Arnhem Lane in Manor, Texas. The applicant is Carlson Brigance Enduring, Inc. The owner is KB Home Lone Star Incorporated.
Okay, so to give a little bit of clarity on the location, this subdivision is just above the senior high school. It doesn't exactly have a road connected to it yet, so I couldn't place where it's at.
Mhm.
But I do want to mention this item is non-discretionary.
Thank
So
you.
then I move to approve agenda item number 6.
I second it.
All right, we have a motion from Commissioner Leonard and a second by Commissioner Pais.
I have a question.
All righty. I have a question from Commissioner Meyer. Commissioner Meyer?
At the time of the subdivision's acceptance, will there be two ways in and out of this?
The next agenda item actually references that. It's a dedication of right of way to provide secondary access from
Yes.
the back of the subdivision.
It happens to be 64 feet wide, curb to curb, if it's approved. Alrighty. The motion on the table is up for a vote. All those in favor of this non-discretionary item, say aye, or raise your hand. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion passes.
If I may, feel free to use both hands to press the button and also raise your other hand. I notice people
there you
like
go.
reaching and trying to talk at the same time.
Apologies. We're saving our neighbors from our 7 p.m. messiness. Item 8, pardon me, that was item 7. I've got to catch up myself here, y'all. Thank you. That was item 6. Item 7 is consideration, discussion, and possible action on final plat for the Mustang Valley Holly Smith Phase 4A right-of-way subdivision, being 6.178 acres of right-of-way and being located in between the existing Anderson Road and Greg with 2G's Lane in Manor, Texas. Same applicant and owner as the last item. Staff?
Yeah, this is the
Right-of-way.
secondary access right of way that's being constructed. It'll have wastewater infrastructure underneath, but it serves as secondary access to the subdivision from the rear, and it will also eventually connect to the Cameron Road extension coming in from the east.
Yes.
So it would connect with the Greg Lane, is that correct?
It goes up to the there's a Greg Lane Development LLC that owns the property
Yes.
behind Greg Lane, but it does not currently connect.
Yeah, you can see where they're starting to move the dirt. Yeah.
So
And this is the same subdivision that was here last month for the soil amendment, correct? Or was that a different? No, I'm so sorry. Am I getting my Mustangs confused?
Pauline Gray, GBA City Engineer. I believe you're talking about the New Haven development.
New Haven. I apologize.
That's the one where y'all approved the paving,
With
the
the
amendment.
GeoGrid.
Yes.
Yeah.
But this subdivision will eventually tie into the New Haven one, and it will basically connect and get everything out to Greg Lane.
That makes sense. That's what I was thinking. So this is adjacent to the also underway New Haven subdivision.
Yes.
And these will be contiguous and connected
Yes.
upon approval of this item.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, yeah, they have to construct the road, and then they have to record the plat and dedicate the right of way to the city. But yes, eventually.
Alrighty.
This item is also non-discretionary.
I make a motion to approve agenda item number 7.
Commissioner Pais, at the motion to approve the item, the staff recommendation here. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Neela. Any of discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand or push your button.
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion passes unanimously. Oh, time for more questions. The next item is item 8. It's consideration, discussion, and possible action on a final plat for the Ventura at Tower Road apartment subdivision. That's one lot on 15.074 acres, more or less, being located at 12100 Tower Road in Manor, Texas. The applicant is Kimley Horn. The owner is Kenneth and Susanna Tomlinson. I believe we have a speaker signed up on this item. Wonderful. Available for questions. Oh, it's Mr. Graham. Andy Graham from Kimley Horn is here to answer questions for the applicant. Do we have a
This one, I actually do have a bit of background to provide.
I was going to say, we have to get some clarification because of a late backup request. What? Go for it.
So
Staff.
for this item, we have to include the stipulation that it cannot be recorded until the preliminary plat is approved at P&Z next month. Sequentially speaking, the preliminary plat was approved before the final plat, and it also has its construction plan approval. However, the preliminary plat was not approved in time for us to send out the mail-out notification, so it could not be heard today.
So has this not been properly noticed?
The final plat doesn't need notice. Only the preliminary plat. The preliminary plat has been noticed.
Okay.
Will be noticed next month.
And does the city have record that the Manville CCN, that this parcel has been released from the Manville CCN?
So that's also something that needs to be updated. This was intended to go to council next week, but we did not receive that document in time. It's already been signed by Manville. It just needs to go to council on October 2nd. So all of this will be tied up, and once that's taken care of, then we can record the final plat.
Okay. Is this eligible for action then?
Yes, we can approve it with the condition that it not be recorded until the preliminary plat is approved and the CCN swap is complete and filed with the PUC.
Okay, perfect. That's a fun. See, all my questions, you got all my little notes are all taken care of now. Commissioner Cecil, pardon, Commissioner Meyer. So, apologies.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve agenda item number 8 with the condition that the final plat cannot be recorded until the CCN swap with Manville is complete and the preliminary plat goes through P&Z.
I have
I second it.
a recommendation, or pardon me, I have a motion from Commissioner Meyer, a second from Commissioner Pais for the staff recommendation. Do we have any discussion on this motion, on this item? Seeing none, we'll take a vote. We can raise our hands. All those in favor, say or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion is unanimous. Alrighty. And with that, that wraps up all the business for the Planning and Zoning Commission of the City of Manor. It is 7:49 p.m. on Wednesday, September 11th, and this meeting is adjourned. All right. I'll call this meeting to order of the Community Impact Fee Advisory Committee regular meeting at September 11th, 2024. It is 7:57 p.m. We are meeting in the City Council chambers here at the City Hall of Manor, Texas, on Eccleston Street. Present tonight are staff, and we have a quorum present. We have one commissioner who is coming back to the dais here momentarily. And with that, good evening. Staff?
You have to go to public comments and the consent.
Oh, I
agenda.
have a lot of things to go read. I apologize.
Yeah, you go
I
first.
have a script to follow. I'm just going off of the fun parts. All right. So that is, yes, a quorum is present. For non-agenda items, we have comment cards that are white cards to be filled out. Comments will be taken from the audience on the non-agenda related topics for a length of time not to exceed 3 minutes per person. Agenda item comment cards, those are the yellow cards that can be filled out by all members in the gallery. Comments will be taken from the audience on the non-agenda and agenda items combined for a length of time not to exceed 5 minutes total per person on all items, except for public hearings. Comments on public hearing items must be made when the item comes before the committee and must not exceed 2 minutes per person. No action or discussion may be taken during the public comments on non-agenda items. To address the committee, please complete the white or yellow card that you choose and present it to the city staff designee prior to the meeting. Do we have any cards? We have no cards to present. All right. Next, we're going to move on to the consent agenda. All the following items on the consent agenda are considered to be self-explanatory by the Community Impact Fee Advisory Committee and will be enacted with one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless requested by the chair or a committee member, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. I'll open the floor for recommendations.
I move to approve agenda item number 1.
I
the
second.
minutes.
Oh, sorry.
Alrighty. I have a motion from Commissioner Leonard and a second by Commissioner Pais, correct? To approve the consent agenda. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That motion passes. Alrighty. Item 2 is the regular agenda. Consideration, discussion, and possible action on the updated comparison chart and new impact fee comparison chart that just came out this week. That includes Manor, Hutto, and Pflugerville. We have staff here with us. Pauline.
Yes, Pauline Gray, GBA City Engineer. The first exhibit in your packet is just comparing Bastrop, Hutto, Pflugerville, Manor currently without roadway impact fees, and then proposed. This chart has not changed. Basically, it's the same as what it has been since we've been discussing it. I just kept it in as a reference. If you go to the next item, then we're comparing Hutto, Pflugerville, and the proposed Manor impact fee for roadways. And so this one was basically basing the impact fees for industrial or retail or non-residential at the low number for the service area, which is the 517.01 versus the 727, which is the high. And so all that does, that chart did not change either. Those are the same numbers that we looked at previously. So the third chart with the yellow highlighting, basically what I went in there, because we had discussed it, was setting an impact fee amount for non-residential, like retail, industrial, and basically following what Pflugerville does, which is $400 per service mile. And so what that does, it compares, how does that compare to what Pflugerville's doing? And it brought Manor a lot closer, if not lower than some of the stuff that Pflugerville, and it brought us a lot closer to, it's actually the same as Hutto.
Yeah.
Now for the roadway impact fees, because Hutto set theirs at 400. Pflugerville varies theirs based on what service area you're in. And so all this, it just shows you that if, what y'all need to decide is what we're going to recommend to council. Do we want to recommend, doing what Pflugerville does, where it varies by service area, or recommend a set amount? And it's not for residential. The residential is going to be
Flat.
what we previously discussed, with a set amount based on what service area. That hasn't changed, and that will not change. But what it does, if we recommend to council to set it at the 400, it gets us more in line to compete with other cities.
Mhm.
I thought the 400
Oh.
was, oh, sorry.
You turned it off.
Oh, shoot.
Now it's on.
Now it's on.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought the 400 was reasonable, and I thought it also kind of did away with the inequities of, the different service areas paying different pricing. That's what HUD or Pflugerville did, whichever one it was, and it seemed reasonable to me.
Yeah, it's Pflugerville, because basically what it does, depending, like if we go with, what it is per service area, then depending on where somebody came in, if Bart, Barth did a grocery store or something, he would pay a different impact fee than somebody that was in a different part of the city. But what this does, it makes it a level playing field for everybody's paying the 400. And what it'll do is it, because there were concerns about hindering commercial growth in the city with having the higher impact fees for retail.
For retail.
Yes.
And the concerns that I had was having, and I understand, service area 1 has a higher need on the roadway capacity plan or on your project list.
Yes.
Is that what is it roadway capacity plan, correct? Or what's it called?
Yeah. So basically they're, each service area, we have different projects broken out, and service
Yes.
area 1 was the one where, there's a lot of, because it includes
Old downtown.
North of, north of 290 and south. And so it needed more work. So it has a higher impact fee amount.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing, though, really, in that service area, we're probably limited at this point of what's going to come in.
Correct.
Just because it's, it includes
for the
part
most
of the
part
older
platted.
part of the city. So you're looking at stuff being rezoned to neighborhood business or downtown business.
Yeah.
And so most of those don't have to do TIAs at all and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's minimal impact to existing traffic.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what this does is, service area 2 is pretty high as well. And that has to do with just what's coming in that area. But that area has a greater opportunity for commercial growth.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to make it a little bit more, economical, because the last thing we want to do is pass these roadway impact fees and then we don't get any because nobody wants to come to Manor.
Yeah. I was going to say, we just reached that threshold of population density for attracting. That's why we're seeing the explosion because we exploded. And we're going to see more explosion because we keep exploding. And we just have to look to all of our neighbors just north of us or also just northwest of us to see what that is and how fast that happens.
And I believe it was before you joined the committee, there were discussions about certain businesses not going into Pflugerville and deciding to go to Hutto or somewhere else where it
was more economically feasible.
It was
Jack
cheaper
Allen
impact
was an example
Yeah.
of that, and I think there was another big box user.
Yeah, and so that had been brought up before.
Commissioner Doherty.
Yeah.
Commissioner Doherty. Jack Allen's Kitchen.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Thank you for this too. And part of what I've been looking at on these is trying to use the fee or make sure that the fees they incentivize or disincentivize a little bit of growth within the boundaries of what they're allowed, what's needed or what's necessary, but also realistic. I do kind of appreciate the parity though. It's probably going to be easier on staff side to administer to a degree, but also one of the concerns that we talked about before is the ETJ is really kind of all the regulation, all the control stops at the city limits, and you don't want to set your fees so high where you induce a big bubble of growth of something that could have been yours, but you just turned up the knob too high. on the regulations.
And then we're also limited because we can't use these impact fees for
Yeah.
290 or 973
No.
or Old Highway 20 because those aren't city roads.
Yeah.
So
And this would go, but this would take the burden off of the local tax base to a degree. Like,
yes,
it would shift the burden completely away from us
right.
as
So we could work
existing
on
taxpayers.
expanding some of the city roads to where, city taxes wouldn't have to go up, or you wouldn't have to pass bonds or anything. That hopefully we could use those funds to expand city roads.
Committee members, what are your thoughts on? I believe this is a relatively new this new chart here, which is Exhibit 3, correct?
Yes.
Exhibit 3 is the new one. Exhibit 2 was last month because Jeff comes on board and goes, "Hey, what about our neighbor?" And Chance Pflugerville back, and then of course the original one with Bastrop, Hutto, and
If I may briefly interject, looking at this chart, and it could just be
Go
something
for
I'm
it.
unaware of since I'm relatively new to this. The proposed industrial 85,000 square foot water impact fee says $500,000.
So those impact fees are based on water meter size. So we estimate what size water meter they would need. And so
Well, to that point, 315,000 square foot is only 32,000.
yeah, the numbers seem off on that wastewater impact, the water impact fee. It goes from $32,000. You, if you have a smaller industrial footprint, you have a 2-inch water meter, you're paying $500,000 for a connection fee
Their water's better.
versus a 3-inch being a 32,000. This is on exhibit. This is on actually all 3 exhibits.
Heavy on.
Or it's on the first 2 exhibits. The last 2 exhibits. I'm so sorry. The first one is 16,176 for that, and the other ones are the same. I think somebody missed a decimal. Oh, so it's the same as proposed retail. Do you see this in
there
column?
may be an error in the cell because those numbers
Are not
for the-
computing together.
right, because it should match, those impact fee numbers should match what's on the first sheet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Because
Sal.
the wastewater impact fee
Yeah.
will be a lot higher because the wastewater impact fee is almost 4 times what the water impact fee is.
Okay.
So yeah, so those numbers and those other charts should, I guess something got added in there that shouldn't have. So that's why they're off.
So it should be 16,176 for that, most likely, for the 85,000 square foot industrial.
Yeah, 'cause that probably is a, yeah.
That would put it on parity with a 50,000 square foot retail space.
Seems like it'd be a lot closer to that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have a recommendation to, well, I can suggest after we have a motion, of maybe even reducing just I think I'm pretty much in par with the revised sheet that she has.
I think the whole reason we're doing this is because our roads suck so bad, and that's what people make all these comments about. And everywhere you
Yeah.
look, and everywhere you hear, and that's just our roads suck. They suck. Traffic sucks, right? This is in a way to help them. Is
Yeah.
that right?
And to where you as tax-paying citizens don't have to,
Shoulder the full burden of the road.
shoulder the burden.
It's a fair share.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
New development's essentially helping pay its fair share or its portion to help cover this.
we represent our constituents and the businesses here. To me, we need this. And we have so much coming into Maynard.
Yeah. And so just to let you know, this type of impact fees and stuff, it is all dependent on when plats get recorded.
Correct.
Which means a lot of things are grandfathered.
Yes.
Everything that's in the
if
pipeline now
something
is
was already platted now, like some of the plats that y'all discussed earlier, if they get recorded before we approve this, then they won't have to pay any roadway impact fees.
correct.
So
But if we've talked about this for a very long time,
yes.
if we take action tonight,
Yeah. I mean, this
On
is
this
just going
item.
over the numbers, and this was more just to say, do we want to recommend to council that we have a set amount of $400 for non-residential.
I'm comfortable with that.
Would this come in pre HEB and the whole, or has that already been platted?
Oh, that's already-
that HEB site. That whole site's already been platted.
Has been platted and site planned and zoned.
But
and
I can tell you
approved.
that whole site is spending millions of dollars to improve 290 and 973.
Yeah.
It really,
Yeah.
where it's coming in, the city wouldn't really get any, like there's no city streets that are affected
Yeah.
by that development. So for the most part, that probably would have been some sort of agreement to where the city would waive their impact fees anyway because they're giving
because they're doing
so much,
on-site improvements.
because they're doing so much on-site improvement.
That's
And-
why that right turn lane. Oh, you live south, you don't have to see it. It's really messy. That right turn on to 290 from 973 has been adjusted.
Yeah.
Well,
for the
yeah.
I turn left, and so I have to like merge with them.
You still have to
so I
deal with
definitely
us,
feel
yeah.
the pain, but
Believe me, I had a close incident today.
yeah,
that
I
is-
have close incidents. But I mean, worst comes to worst, if these numbers are too high, and we have developers that don't want to come, don't want to whatever, we can reduce the amount to become more competitive, right? So this is a first guess
Yeah.
by us.
Yes.
Right.
And like I said, ultimately, it's also up to
the
what
draft.
council decides.
Yes, the draft ordinance in the next item recommends annual review of this sheet of this table.
Yes, and I can tell you, we started doing that with water and
Oh,
wastewater.
water,
as
wastewater.
well, just because the way stuff is growing, and it used
Yeah.
to be 5-year updates, and
Yeah.
10-year, but now we're doing it almost every year.
Do you need us to approve
Yeah.
this?
What I need is a direction. You don't have to approve these numbers, but I need some sort of motion to say, okay, as a committee, this is
staff
what we want to send to council. Like I said,
Yes.
the recommendation, and it's more the recommendation for the non-residential because the residential is going to be based on what service area, so that will
Yeah.
vary. But like I said, I'd come back because y'all wanted to discuss having a set fee amount for non-residential, which would be retail, industrial, and whatnot. And so that's what I need. So then I can prepare the items to go
Yeah.
to council. Those of you who've been here before, I'm going to prepare. It's going to be like an engineering report, like I do for water and wastewater fees for council. And what comes out of that is, I say, okay, well, the committee met all these times. This is what they recommend, and then ultimately, council will either accept what y'all suggest, or they may
Yep.
modify it. Typically, in the past, they've always just accepted what the committee's recommended.
I'll entertain a motion for recommendation if anybody wants. Or
Can we
discussion?
make a recommendation yet, or on that on the
It says
on the
here-
ordinance? Do we have to be on the next item or not?
I know this seems like it's out of order. Is it okay, Yuvia? I don't want to get in trouble again. To consider this item, consider the table before we consider the ordinance at the table
Right,
would be
yeah.
related to.
I just need direction from them if they're okay with me presenting it to council at being a set rate of $400.
Why would we have it at the bottom of the motion sheet then? It's staff recommendation says it is the city staff's recommendation that the community impact fee advisory committee discuss the update. Oh, I'm so sorry. You're right.
Yeah, it was just to
Okay.
discuss it. And like I said, what I'll do is before the next meeting, I'll prepare the engineering report with
Yeah.
the recommendation, all that stuff in there. Y'all,
We could take a
review it.
poll of it, everyone, really quick if you'd want. I'm comfortable with Exhibit 3 in this list, the one with the highlighted yellow section with the amended box for water impact fee for 85,000 square foot industrial.
I will
the
have that. I'll
16,176.
have that corrected
Yeah.
in the report.
But that would be my recommendation to staff.
Same.
I would recommend that as well. I'm not trying to change the recommendation.
No, you're good.
Okay. I would
Oh,
recommend
yes.
approval of the draft ordinance with a max impact fee collection rate of $400 for non-residential
Okay.
use.
Yeah.
That's-
Is that what you recommended? $400?
Yes.
Okay. Then yeah,
and that matches what Hutto's been doing, and it brings us.
This is the
It'll bring
Yeah.
Wiener closer to
Okay.
what Hutto.
Yeah.
I support that as well.
Pardon
Yeah.
me, should the recommendation include the ordinance if you haven't discussed the ordinance yet in the next item?
I don't know.
They're on two.
One,
We're on
two.
2.
Yeah.
So
So,
it shouldn't
yeah.
include the ordinance yet.
Okay.
We're talking about the table.
So this item doesn't need a motion, just
No.
provide feedback like, yeah, we're okay with
We endorse
What?
you
you presented.
presenting to council Exhibit 3.
Yeah, so there's no
Right.
motion that needs to be made.
No.
With the
With-
$400
With the $400. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody's on page.
Alrighty.
We just had to make a motion to close it, correct?
No.
No, it's not an
like a-
actionable item.
Yeah.
Did we do that yet, or? Okay.
You
yeah.
did.
Yeah. I mean, I got it. I think everybody's good with the 400.
All right. Commissioner Terry providing direction with emphasis by, I'm so sorry. I always
Timmerman.
miss, Commissioner Timmerman. Thank you so much. Committee member, Representative Timmerman. Alrighty.
So this ordinance. Oh, go ahead.
We're moving on to item 3, everyone. We're getting there. You're ready to go.
Yes, I am.
We're going quick tonight.
Best we ever gone.
Hey, we're going to make motions on this one. Possibly. This is consider. Oh, nope. It's the final item. Consideration, discussion, and possible action on a draft roadway impact fee ordinance.
So we had
Staff?
briefly discussed this at the last meeting. So I went in there and I made some of the changes. They're in red. And I think it was just mainly regarding doing the yearly updates, as y'all had suggested. I don't even know what page I saw it a minute ago. So yeah, it's on. Okay, there's no page numbers on this. So it's section 15, and so we before he left, Scott and I went through this and we made that modification. Everything else has been. It was the same as was discussed at the previous meeting, and so the only thing that will be changing in this ordinance would be Exhibit B, where I will put in there what the maximum accessible roadway impact fee per service area will be, and so I will just break that out between residential and non-residential. So.
Alrighty.
I support that.
And as you remember, we discussed previously that the only thing we removed that I had previously discussed was like coming up with an order of projects, because we decided no other city does that. They just have the list of projects, and hopefully eventually they get money to fund one of them on the list. So that was the only other thing that was removed.
Wonderful. I'm going through this.
Yeah, I don't think it's realistic for us to try. I don't think it's scalable.
Right. I mean, because you could put something on the list and it's $5 million, and you know, or you could do something else if you get $2 million from somebody.
Yeah.
So
I'll entertain a motion on this recommendation for the recommended ordinance or draft ordinance. Yeah.
I make a motion to approve agenda item number 3.
Motion by Committee Member Pais. A second?
I'll second.
A second by Committee Member Terry. Thank you. Hop. This is the staff recommendation that the Community Impact Fee Advisory Committee discuss the updated impact fee comparison chart as well as the new comparison chart. Am I on the right one?
yeah, 3.
I'm on 3, and that's not the language that's in here. We have bad language on that. It's okay. I'm going to say it. Yes. I'm going to say it's consideration and possible action on a draft roadway impact fee ordinance. So this is a motion to recommend consideration and potential adoption of the draft roadway impact fee ordinance as presented here in the committee backup. Discussion?
Do we need to make the motion with that one caveat of the residential versus commercial, or is that inferred within
If
the
you want to
recommendation?
go ahead and add it, y'all can. I mean, I'm going to put it in there, but if you feel more comfortable, we can go ahead and add it in.
So since we've already made a motion and seconded, what do we have?
You
to
can
do?
amend the main motion. Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Would-
So
look,
I
It's,
don't.
it's already in there. That's what she's doing, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's already in there. So we're
So
good.
yeah, it'll be in there. Like I said, I will come back with the final draft. I just need something
Okay.
to get prepared for city legal to review.
So then I second. Oh, we already seconded. Okay, never mind.
Yep. Committee member Terry seconded. And that was a friendly. It could have been a friendly amendment, but it's already incorporated in the main motion. Alrighty. Any discussion on this motion? All those in favor, please raise your hand and say aye.
I
Aye. All those opposed? This motion is unanimous. Congratulations, y'all, on that recommendation. With that, that is all.
a year and a half or a year.
Yeah. That concludes the business of the Community Impact Fee Advisory Committee for September 11th, 2024. It is currently 8:23 p.m. Without objection, this meeting is adjourned.